Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Somebody sent me a link to a video done by the Underground Resistance Network called Breaking News: Clinton Email Shows Alien Invasion November 8th. And it was a pretty interesting video. I went through most of it, and it cites the anonymous video that talked about this document that leaked. And basically, it is all the stuff that's been in the news with Wikileaks, and it concerns a gentleman named Joel Benenson. Now, clearly, if you go to Wikileaks and you type in Benenson Strategy Group, you get a whole list of emails. And, for example, this one here says the campaign spent more than $900,000 on polling, with just over $800,000 going to Benenson Strategy Group, run by top Clinton advisor Joel Benenson. So this is a real guy, Joel Benenson, clearly exposed for doing backdoor deals with the Clintons to skew the polls and everything else. But along with it came this strange release of a document. And the document itself makes some pretty wild claims. Let me go through it real briefly for you. It looks like a normal document that any sort of organization like this would have. You have the Clinton Foundation, you have the Benenson Strategy Group thing here. The logo doesn't really match the one they have now, which is more of this sort of scattered blue thing. So it's a little different, but the thing that really got people's attention was some of the stuff about the riots and the natural disasters, the epidemics, and one of the questions suggesting hard Trump supporters, when asked what events could stop you from voting, 38% said attack by extraterrestrials, 16% said biblical event. So, this sort of thing is interesting and weird. Maybe that's is true, maybe it's not, but it just kind of makes you raise an eyebrow when you look at it. But even more bizarre is the salvage options, the non-recommended salvage options, which clearly is, surrounding a lot of the conspiracies that we've talked about. And I won't get into those. You can look at them yourselves. And something called FIRESIGN, which basically is Project Bluebeam here. And if you read the whole thing here, it basically talks about creating an experience, a religious experience, a road to Damascus experience, where they can change the consciousness or the mind of a large group of individuals by projecting holograms into the sky and affecting their cerebral cortex to change their, mindset forever, sort of the way Paul's mind was changed on the road to Damascus by encountering Jesus, playing God, that sort of thing. The document continues here and says that they want to produce this effect across 23% of the continental United States, and they can hand the presidency over to Hillary Clinton as soon as they're done, traumatizing the masses, basically. And the thing is, programs like this, or a scenario like this, a situation like this, probably exists somewhere. Maybe not to this specific degree, but we've known about Project Bluebeam for a long time, and that's nothing new. So it's entirely plausible that this sort of thing is happening, but I don't know that this document is real. This seems really hoaxy to me. First off, the link is to media.wix.com, and it's basically a media file, a PDF file from a website that was created at wix.com, which doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence about, the source of this. Second of all, the address here doesn't match the address that's listed on the actual Benenson Strategy Group website. The phone number is the same, and there's some similarities here with the Washington, D.C. address, but if you look at it closely, it is not the same. And in fact, if you do a Google Earth search, it takes you to actually pretty close to the actual location of Benenson Strategy Group, but definitely not the same thing. It looks actually like a little business building or an apartment building of some kind. And is it possible that the Benenson Group, has some affiliates that work out of there? Maybe, but if this document is supposed to be up-to-date, recent kind of stuff, then you would expect that their address would be at least accurate. Which, by the way, I thought it would be of interest to those of you watching to point out that their New York office, their address is 777 3rd Avenue on the 33rd floor. So there you have it. And just little things like, having a do not distribute, do not copy kind of thing at the bottom of each page of this document. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's real. Now, in my opinion, this is most likely a hoax. But again, it could be real. I guess there's some different possibilities. I mean, it could be that this document was real, but, somebody tampered with it and changed it before it, leaked out too far to make it seem like, oh, it's just a hoax, so if they were ever asked about it, hey, look, these things don't match, it's obviously a hoax. I guess that's possible, although unlikely. But there's also another possibility that, this is deliberately done by the very people who want to continue to peddle this, crazy conspiracy theorists narrative to the general public. And, it would help dismiss that such programs exist, and it would discredit the alternative community. So, yeah, it would be something that they would do to cause spin if anyone latches onto it. Oh, look how not credible they are. They took a document that's clearly a hoax and think it's real. And obviously the third option is that it's just some document somebody cooked up, on Photoshop and threw it out there just for fun. But this sort of thing, again, is difficult to wade through because, again, on one hand, I do think programs like this exist. I think this sort of thinking, this sort of strategy have been discussed. And maybe there's documents, maybe there's paper trails to some of it that we haven't seen. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there's some we'll never see. But this shouldn't discourage you or minimize the importance of some of the things that are really going on that people aren't aware of. These things are still real. Things like Bluebeam, I'm sure, is real. The technology exists. We shouldn't have to hinge all those theories on this one document. And if this one document is debunked, that doesn't mean the whole subject is debunked. So, that being said, it's one of those things that makes your head spin a little bit, right? It's a little bit crazy, especially with all the crazy nonsense happening in the election cycle. But it's important for us to keep in mind that we already know sort of what we're looking for in terms of an antichrist figure, a consolidation of the nations, which seems to be happening, and specific patterns within that are described in scripture that I think we will begin to see as a church, as the remnant. And perhaps the strong delusion that's coming is really going to be, kind of difficult to deal with, because it's going to be so difficult to see a group of people completely believe the lie. And if anything, this election cycle has shown me that, oh my goodness, the strong delusion, this sort of thing of mass number of people being deceived through very specific and, pretty transparent methods. You got to think, hey, you can't be that uninformed or lazy to believe some of the mainstream narratives, yet millions of people still do. And I'm encouraged that more people are waking up. And I think, if anything, it shows that, hey, we can make a difference by doing YouTube videos like this one. So, we shouldn't just give up and say, well, it's all going to happen anyway, and be complacent. That's not really what I'm saying either. But ultimately, these things were prophesied, and, the landscape for some of these crazy prophecies seems to be shifting into place where, these supernatural events become a reality. Hope you guys got something out of it. Let me know what you guys think. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.